about that. Had some technical difficulties, but what's up, y'all? How everybody doing? So happy Wednesday to everybody. So my thoughts on some of the stuff that's going on. The world is really getting crazy out there. Um, when I was at work, one of my new cousins that I met on Ancestry.com called me to connect with me and let me know that there was a active shooter situation around the Capitol. And in my mind, I'm like, damn, I'm in like the Wild Wild West, out here. It's bad enough you have people doing drive-by shootings in hoods, and you got people doing shootings like in hood areas, but now you're talking about Washington D.C., the Capitol building, and people are going around shooting over there. Violence is everywhere in the world, and in my mind, it's just, man, it's just sometimes you just think about, you look at how far we've come, how far we've come, and where things look like they're heading, and it just seems like you know pandemonium may be where society is headed. I look at YouTube, and the different videos, the different podcasters, the different YouTube content creators. And, I respect a lot of those that are educational, the ones that do things for educational purposes, informing us of the news, informing us of, murders or things that affect the community, but I'm not with, the hate that gets shoveled back and forth, the battle of the sexes. That's been on YouTube for a minute, where it's like people are getting monetized to kind of spread hate between men and women, especially black men and black women. And, I just get sick and tired of the complaining. I get sick and tired of people that get on and try to give advice when everybody is an individual and everybody lives their lifestyle. Every person is different. Everybody isn't the same. Yes, we're all human beings, but people have different personalities, different wants, different likes, different things that they value. And what tends to happen is, people tend to stereotype and generalize, one gender or the other. They talk about men being broke, and then they talk. When you look behind, some of the content creators that kind of have this type of language, or kind of come on the hate side, or just like the hypercritical side of the opposite gender, there's usually trauma behind these people. They must have had a bad experience. They may have dated somebody who broke their heart. They may have mommy issues. They may be mentally ill, But what I would say is, anytime you listen to anyone, do your own research, educate yourself, and consider the source of the things that you're listening to. Always consider the source. Always think about whether or not there is a level of truth to what you're hearing. But be advised that painting everybody with a broad stroke, yeah, that's not truthful, because there's always going to be somebody that doesn't fit a certain narrative. All men aren't sex crave brokies that want to get in a woman's pants, and all women are thoughts that want to be gold diggers and use dudes for their money, and like Pookies and Ray Rays. It's like all these things that you hear constantly, consistently on YouTube. It kind of like, it's constant, just trying to kind of, like rhetoric, propaganda, kind of like brainwashing people, or, just trying to put a constant mental narrative to try to kind of, I think, sway the masses. We have to be very careful of the things that we digest. We have to be careful of, the things that we listen to, and just be aware of how it affects your mind. You know, YouTube, as interesting and fun, and it's something to do, as popular as it is, there's a life outside of social media. There's a life outside of YouTube. There's a life outside of the filters, and some of the people, that get on these platforms and say the things that they say, sometimes, for some, it's not about helping people. It's more about getting money. It's more about clout, and it's more about shock value. And we have to be careful, of people who have motives like that, because it's not going to ultimately help, the people that are listening. It's going to kind of make them, kind of brainwashed and be like, sheep in a sense, following, blind leading the blind type thing. But anyway, today was a beautiful day. Things at work are getting a little bit better for me. Um, I'm just realizing that offices will always have politics, but it's all about how you handle the politics that are in the office where you work at. As long as those politics don't harm your mental health, don't harm you physically or emotionally, then you can kind of navigate it. But if there's something that's so extreme where it's affecting your health and all of that, then you have to take a step back and kind of ask yourself whether or not, you're equipped to be or work in a place, such as where you're at. But my mental health is improving. I still feel anxious about the things that go on in the world. I just keep hearing, disturbing stories. I heard about somebody who, I think a man and a woman were arrested for sexually assaulting a dog. A dog, y'all. Yeah, full on bestiality. Like, I think the police were after them for another crime, but then when they confiscated, I think, their cell phone or some of the stuff in their car, they found evidence of one of them having sexual intercourse with a dog. And, that's not only nasty, but that's, for somebody to do that, you got to be literally mentally ill. Like, that's not even the same species, man. It's not even the same species. Then you have the government finally admitting to UFO existence. That's something that we always kind of knew, because after all, we live in a vast universe, and we would be crazy to think that we're the only life in existence. God is a vast God, and if he made human beings and he made animals and he made creatures, he could have made them not only here, but in other parts of the universe too. So I'm not putting words in God's mouth. I'm just saying that God is limitless. God exists in a dimension that we as human beings can't fully fathom. He's in the supernatural realm. And so he's not constrained by time or by death or by, gravity or anything like that. And if he created the universe, then, so I'm not too surprised about that. But it just disheartens me to also hear about another young actor, I think, that they found dead, and I think that he took his life. The young man that he plays on Euphoria. My children let me know about it, and I was very disheartened, because as a parent, when someone they're not even old yet, they're so young, they still like have their life ahead of them, or they're in the prime of their life, and then all of a sudden, you they you end up finding out that they lost their life, or it's possible that they took their own life. It just goes to show, how people struggle behind the scenes, the mental state of people. You can have all the money, you can have the fame, you can, have a following, but it doesn't mean that you're mentally well, physically well, or that you're happy behind the scenes, or that you're fulfilled. We as people, we need to start thinking about the lives that we live. What brings contentment, what brings fulfillment, what is our purpose. Time is time is very valuable, because once you lose it, you can't get it back. And so people need to understand the value that time, it contains, the value that, time has. We have to make the most of and redeem the time that we are given here on the earth. We really do. There's a lot of crazy shit that's going on, but God. That's all I could say. I think it's just the mercy and the grace and the pity of God that we're still here, because the crazy stuff that goes on from day to day, some of it just don't make no sense. Some of it don't make no sense. But anyway, so like I said, this was just me kind of doing a check-in. How is everyone's mental health? Start to ask yourself questions. Reflect on your life. Ask yourself, how is your mental health? How is your physical health? How is your spiritual health? Are you fulfilled? Are you content? Are there things that you need to work on in your life? Are there goals that you want to reach? We need to all think about these things, realize, the fleetingness of time, and each and every day, try to make things happen, little by little, step by step. Let's use the time that we're given wisely. And that's basically all I got to say for now. So thanks for hanging out with me, and there'll be more content. All right? Peace.